The visiting delegation moved slowly through the pristine hallways of the Galactic Coalition's most secure military complex. Brilliant white lighting reflected off polished alloy walls, stretching shadows of wildly different shapes and sizes along the corridor. At the front walked Frozen, a crystalline being from the Krillian Empire. Her translucent body scattered light into soft prismatic hues as she advanced, a living lens shaped by centuries of evolution. Frozen had served as a security officer for over 300 standard years. She had inspected armories on a dozen worlds and catalogued weapons capable of erasing cities or cracking moons. Still, something about the human sector made her internal threat senses tighten. It wasn't fear, more a quiet anticipation, like the air before a storm. Their guide, a jittery Vexian with an overabundance of eyes, chattered nervously as they approached a massive sealed door. "This section is classified," he said quickly. "Please remain behind the barriers and refrain from physical interaction with any display." At the rear of the group lingered Finch, the only human present. He was officially a junior systems engineer, though no one seemed entirely sure how he'd obtained clearance to join a high-level diplomatic tour. His jacket looked worn, his hair perpetually untidy, and his posture was relaxed to the point of impropriety. Frozen had learned that humans often appeared casual right up until the moment they weren't. The armory doors slid open with a deep mechanical sigh. Inside, row after row of weapons rested behind reinforced transparent shields. The delegation collectively inhaled. Energy rifles calibrated to atomize armored targets. Gravity-based impact tools designed to fold tanks inward like paper. Devices outlawed in dozens of star systems glowed faintly with restrained power. Yet the crowd's attention drifted toward one section in particular. Behind the thickest barrier, marked with layers of warning symbols, sat the human display. Unlike the others, there was no humming energy field, no exotic materials shimmering with quantum effects. Instead, there were slabs of metal, polymer frames, and mechanical components arranged with ritual-like precision. The simplicity was unsettling. Ambassador Vex's tentacles twitched in fascination. "I was told human weapons were unusual," he murmured. "But this is something else." Frozen leaned closer, examining the designs. "They rely on physical projectiles," she said thoughtfully. "No energy discharge. No traceable signatures." The guide nodded rapidly. "Yes. Human firearms. They use controlled detonations to launch solid matter at extreme velocity." A Delphinian delegate recoiled. "Savage," she whispered. That was when Frozen noticed Finch had stopped smiling. Finch had drifted closer to the barrier, his earlier amusement replaced by an expression that was unreadable, almost somber. His eyes fixed on a specific subsection of the display. Frozen followed his gaze. Mounted alongside the projectile weapons was a collection of bladed tools. Long, curved edges. Narrow points. Serrated spines. Each blade gleamed under the lights, polished and balanced, displayed with an air of reverence that suggested history rather than innovation. The guide lowered his voice. "These are human close-quarters weapons. Designs refined over thousands of years. Some date back over 5 millennia and remain in active use." Several delegates murmured in awe. A few discreetly recorded images, despite posted restrictions. Then Finch spoke. "Those aren't weapons," he said quietly. The armory fell silent. Frozen's crystalline refraction faltered, an involuntary response to shock. Every being turned toward the human. "I'm sorry," the guide stammered. Finch pointed through the barrier, his tone casual. "That one's a chef's knife. The curved one is for trimming meat. Serrated blades for bread. The small ones for vegetables." The silence deepened, heavy and stretched thin. Frozen finally found her voice. "You're joking." Finch shrugged. "Nope. They're a bit nicer than what I own, but yeah. Same designs. My grandmother uses knives like these every week. Ambassador Vex's skin darkened in alarm. Your elder relative uses implements classified as military hardware. Well, sure, Finch replied. How else do you cook? A pixie delegate squeaked, cook, with weapons? Frozen's mind raced. These blades are restricted in 12 systems. That chef's knife alone has a confirmed combat record. Finch blinked. I mean, I guess they'd be dangerous if you attacked someone with them. But we don't. They're tools. Every human dwelling contains these. Frozen pressed. Pretty much, Finch said. Different quality, different styles, but yeah. You need knives to make food. The guide choked audibly. You don't prepare food manually? Finch asked, genuinely curious. Frozen answered slowly. We synthesize nutrients. Molecular processors. Ha, Finch said. That's convenient. But there's something special about cooking yourself. Chopping, seasoning, the sounds, it's part of the experience. He smiled faintly, lost in memory. The room, meanwhile, re-evaluated everything it thought it knew about humanity. Frozen stared at the blades again, her internal records already updating. The human behavioral profile, a file every coalition security officer kept, expanded rapidly with new annotations. A species that casually stored lethal instruments in domestic spaces, and associated them with comfort, tradition, and family. Terrifying. The guide cleared his throat weakly. Let us proceed to the next exhibit. The delegation moved on, but Frozen slowed her pace, falling into step beside Finch. Do all humans think this way? She asked quietly. Finch grinned. Pretty much. Why? No reason, Frozen replied, though her crystalline surface shimmered uneasily. As they walked, her thoughts spiraled. If kitchen tools were this dangerous, what did humans consider actual weapons? And more importantly, what did they keep hidden? She glanced at Finch. He walked easily, hands in his pockets, utterly unbothered by the existential crisis he'd just triggered. That, Frozen realized, might be the most alarming part. Humans didn't see themselves as frightening. They simply adapted. Used what they had. Made do. Turned survival into routine. And somewhere between dinner preparation and battlefield necessity, they blurred lines the rest of the galaxy had never dared cross. Frozen decided she didn't want answers today. As the tour continued, conversations buzzed with nervous energy. Delegates whispered, exchanged glances, recalculated assumptions. The human engineer walked among them like a living anomaly, friendly, informal, unknowingly dangerous. Frozen knew the coalition would debate this revelation for decades. Humans weren't the strongest species. They weren't the most advanced. But they treated danger as commonplace, violence as contextual, and tools as extensions of necessity. That mindset, she realized, was more powerful than any weapon on display. When the tour finally concluded, Frozen made one last entry in her internal report. Humans are not aggressive by default. They are not careless. They are prepared. And that, perhaps, was far worse.